In order to keep the rings from spinning around and around and around as the engine's running on this two-stroke, they put pins in the ring groove so it catches the ring and keeps it oriented in a way where it doesn't, where the ring gap does not cross a port opening like here. If the ring opening was here, it would protrude into that gap, and as the piston passed it, it would catch, break the ring, score the piston. So I've taken my duplicate, put a wrist pin in here, and marked approximately where these were located, and there's 3. And then when I went back and looked at the inside casting, I'd put extra material in the core design to accept the pin. What I came up with was a 3/16 roll pin, and that's 3/16 hole design, so it compresses into 3/16. Right now it's larger. I'm gonna move over to, I'm fortunate to have one of the best drilling machines, in my opinion, ever made. It's a Lindley jig bore, which would be, I use it as a mill, a small mill, but it's designed for stuff like this. You have real accurate hole drilling. So I'm going to drill a 3/16 hole into this, and then press these into the distance that I determine, which will be half the thickness of the ring. These are 2mm rings. I only want them to stick up 1mm. So I'll show you that setup. The pucker factor is pretty high here because this drill bit, I wish I had an end mill that small. They're more rigid, but you can see this has got quite a bit of flex. And it's not the setup, it's the drill bit flexing, so I've choked up on it as much as possible. And then I've centered on the lip here on the inside. So let's peck at it and see what it does. And of course we'll run the right direction. Yeah, the bit's skating. It's part of that. I'm going to gauge the length of the roll pin this way by sticking a back of a drill bit square, and that gives me approximate length. They come longer, so I've chucked one into my hand drill. We'll go back to the Dremel tool with the cutoff wheel, zip it. Now I'll check that once it cools, make sure it's shorter than what I measured with the drill bit. With the pin now installed, we need to reshape the rings to close past this hump. So we'll do that by going back to the Dremel tool. And I've radiused the edge of this, which I'll do a little bit now on film. This is just a dressing stone, and you can round those corners off. And what I'm wanting to do is match the profile of that 3/16 roll pin. I'll take my ring and close the gap and put it down centered over that, like I'm cutting it off. Well, I made a mistake when I drilled this hole. I didn't consider the fact that the drill bit has a taper on the end and these pins are going to be round, so I fixed that problem with the other ones. This is the first one I tried. where the recess is nice for this pin, but since this one is already pushed in, I don't know of how I'm going to get that back out. So what I've done here is I've gone to a larger drill bit, same size diameter as the pin, and hopefully, this is a hard drill bit, hopefully it's hard enough to cut that spring steel down below the surface of the piston. It's close now. I mean, it's not a huge error, but this might save it. If not, oh, I don't even want to think about it. Ridiculous. Another, I wish again I had a 16th end mill.